Magyanatimirandasya Gyananjala-shlakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Karamahyam Dadati Svaparantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri-Yuta-Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Manchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So we are continuing with the reading from Bhagavad-gīta as it is, from His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda, founder-ācārya of International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So today we are starting new chapter, chapter 4, which is called Transcendental Knowledge. And its topic is the spiritual knowledge of the soul, the God, and the relationship is both purifying and liberating. So there are also Ślokas in some sections. So 1 to 15 is transcendental knowledge about Krishna, and particularly 1 to 3 is about disciplic succession. 4 to 6 about Krishna's body is transcendental. 7 to 8, the reason of Krishna's appearance. 9 to 10, the benefit of understanding Krishna's birth and activities. And 11 to 15, Krishna as the object of everyone's realization and creator of Varnashrama. Then again, bigger sections, 16 to 24, Naishkarmya, how to transform work into sacrifice. And 25 to 33, sacrifices resulting in transcendental knowledge. And 34 to 42, the summary of transcendental knowledge. So, last time we spoke something about the last, or we continued, and Krishna was speaking how last is located, where is his location. So these are the senses, mind, and intelligence. And last can be curbed by regulating the senses, but this is not easy to do artificially. So that's why there was another hint from Krishna that above the senses is the mind, above the mind is intelligence, then soul and the super soul. So we should approach the senses from up. And basically, if we are in connection with the super soul or in connection with Krishna consciousness, so in this way we can take care of this last by spiritualizing the intelligence, and then intelligence can manage mind and mind can engage senses. And how to spiritualize is to be in association with pure devotees like Srila Prabhupada and others, and also by reading Srila Prabhupada's books. So this is the easiest way how to strengthen our intelligence so that it can have enough capacity to deal with the senses and the mind. So, continue reading. Or 1. Shri Bhagavan-vacha imam vivasvate yogam proktavanaham avyayam vivasvan manave praha manurikshvakave bravit. Shri Bhagavan-vacha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, said, Imam this vivasvate unto the Sun God, yogam the science of one's relationship to the Supreme, proktavan instructed, aham I, avyayam imperishable, vivasvan the Sun God's name. Manave unto the father of mankind of the name Vaivasvata. Praha told Manuhu, the father of mankind. Ikshvakave unto King Ikshvaku. Abravit said. Translation: the personality of Godhead Lord Shri Krishna said, I instructed these imperishable science of yoga to the sun god, Vivasvan, and Vivasvan instructed it to Manu, the father of mankind, and Manu in turn instructed it to Ikshvaku. Purport: herein we find the history of the Bhagavad-gītā traced from a remote time when it was delivered to the royal order of all planets, beginning from the sun planet. The kings of all planets are especially meant for the protection of the inhabitants, and therefore the royal order should understand the science of Bhagavad-gītā in order to be able to rule the citizens and protect them from material bondage to lust. Human life is meant for cultivation of spiritual knowledge. In eternal relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the executive heads of all states and all planets are obliged to impart this lesson to the citizens by education, culture, and devotion. In other words, the executive heads of all states are intended to spread the science of Krishna consciousness so that the people may take advantage of this great science and pursue a successful path utilizing the opportunity of the human form of life. So we are starting section about disciplic succession. Means this science of Bhagavad-gītā was delivered from Kṛṣṇa to Vivasvan, sun god, and then to Manu, and then to Manu's son Ikshvaku, who was, I think, he was ruling on the earth. So in this way, mankind got Bhagavad-gītā some long time ago, and it is mentioned that Bhagavad-gītā is especially meant for royal order or for those who are in administration of the country or kingdom, because it is their duty to lead their dependents to God consciousness or Krishna consciousness. But, and unfortunately, we see that very rarely there is some government who would encourage its citizens to do some devotional service or things like that. Mostly we see that is opposite way, that the states are going away from any religion, or if there is religion, then it's more like politics than religion. So this is quite a difficult situation. But anyway, there is also other thing that we heard before, that anyone who is also teacher or father, so they also have their dependents. So it's not only about administration, but also about our families or about our students. So in this way, we can also impart this knowledge of Bhagavad-gītā and improve their intelligence in this way. So basically, many of us can have this opportunity to also do something, not only wait for governments. But ultimately, governments, if they do it on a grand scale, this will be very, very helpful, because if it's coming from top, it's also, we have support, is much easier to do this practice. But still, if it's not there, we should try anyway, by any means. Okay, let's continue. In this millennium, the sun god is known as Vivasvan, the king of the sun, which is the origin of all planets within the solar system. In the Brahma Samhita 552, it is stated, Yachakshur eva savita sakala grahanam raja samasta suramurti rashesha tejak yasya gaya brahmati samrita kala chakro govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Let me worship, Lord Brahma said, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govinda, Kṛṣṇa, who is the original person under whose order the sun, which is the king of all planets, is assuming immense power and heat. The sun represents the eye of the Lord and traverses its orbit in obedience to his order. The sun is the king of all planets, and the sun god at present of the name Vivasvan rules the sun planet, which is controlling all other planets by supplying heat and light. He is rotating under the order of Kṛṣṇa, and Lord Kṛṣṇa originally made Vivasvan his first disciple to understand the science of Bhagavad-gītā. The Gita is not therefore a speculative treatise for the insignificant mundane scholar, but is a standard book of knowledge coming down from time immemorial. Okay, so I will continue. In the Mahabharata, Shanti Parva, 348, 51 to 52, we can trace out the history of the Gita as follows. Treta Yuga Duchatato Vivasvan Manave Dado Manushya Loka Brityartam Suta Yekshvakave Dado Ikshvakuna Chakatito Vyapya Loka Navastitaha. In the beginning of the millennium, known as Treta Yuga, the science of the relationship with the Supreme was delivered by Vivasvan to Manu. Manu, being the father of mankind, gave it to his son, Maharaja Ikshvaku, the king of this earth planet, and forefather of the Raghu dynasty, in which Lord Ramachandra appeared. Therefore, Bhagavad-gita existed in human society from the time of Maharaja Ikshvaku. At the present moment, we have just passed through 5,000 years of the Kali Yuga, which lasts 432,000 years. Before this, there was Dvapara Yuga, 8 lakh years, and before that, there was Treta Yuga, 12 lakh years. To some 2,005,000 years ago, Manu spoke the Bhagavad-gita to his disciple and son Maharaja Ikshvaku, the king of this planet Earth. The age of the current Manu is calculated to last some 305 million for 3 lakh years, of which 120 million 4 lakhs have passed. Accepting that before the birth of Manu, the Gita was spoken by the Lord to his disciple, the sun god Vivasvan, a rough estimate is that the Gita was spoken at least 120 million 4 lakhs years ago, and in human society has been extant for 2 million years. It was respoken by the Lord again to Arjuna about 5,000 years ago. That is the rough estimate of the history of the Gita. According to the Gita itself and according to the version of the speaker, Lord Shri Kṛṣṇa, it was spoken to the sun god Vivasvan because he is also a Kshatriya and is the father of all Kshatriyas who are descendants of the sun god, or the Surya Vamsha Kshatriyas. Because Bhagavad-gita is as good as the Vedas, being spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, this knowledge is Aparushaya, superhuman. Since the Vedic instructions are accepted as they are without human interpretation, the Gita must therefore be accepted without mundane interpretation. The mundane wranglers may speculate on the Gita in their own ways, but that is not Bhagavad-gita as it is. Therefore, Bhagavad-gita has to be accepted as it is from the disciplic succession, and it is described herein that the Lord spoke to the sun god, sun god spoke to his son Manu, and Manu spoke to his son Ikshvaku. So here we see the history of Bhagavad-gita, that it comes to the long years ago, and it was first spoken to the sun god Vivasvan. Also, Lord Brahma confirms this. Yeah, there is. Yeah, he's speaking about sun god. So the present name, because these demigods, they are changing after some time. So there might be different names of the demigods who are in charge of various administrative things within the universe. So now one who is in charge is a demigod called Vivasvan in the position of a sun god. And we see also that, yes, in the millennium known as Treta Yuga, which means Treta Yuga lasted 12 lakh years, but it ended 8 lakh years ago when Dvapara Yuga started. So it means that Bhagavad-gita was spoken in Treta Yuga by Vivasvan to Manu, and then he gave it to Maharaja Ikshvaku. So it was basically in Treta Yuga. And in this way, we see that 12 lakhs years ago, Bhagavad-gita was in human society. So the theory of modern science that in this time there were only maybe some, I cannot even say what kind of living creatures somewhere in the ocean, maybe not even monkeys they consider to be the predecessors in this age. So this clearly says that their theory is wrong. Even I heard quite recently that modern science, some archaeological research was there that they found something, I think even like 8 lakh years ago, some artifacts. So now they are seeing that these theories, what they are producing, they are not consistent. So, but anyway, they still are trying to push it to the back and don't make it very much public. But basically, these theories are falling apart, and even they will have to sooner or later confirm that Vedic knowledge is, as it is said here, a paurusheya, so means superhuman, above our limited understanding or limited understanding of our modern material science. So also is important to get this knowledge from disciplic succession. Like Krishna understood that, yeah, he was instructed in, or it was delivered from Krishna to Vivasvan, then Manu, then Ikshvaku, and in this way it was delivered also to the mankind. So this is our proper source how we can get Bhagavad-gītā. But we see what will happen in the next verse, what happened after that. So for 2, evam parampara praptam imam rajarshyo viduhu sakalene mahata yogo nashtak parantapa. Evam dus parampara, by disciplic succession, praptam, received imam, this science, Raja Rishayaha, the saintly kings, viduhu, understood, saha, that knowledge, kalena, in the course of time, iha, in this world, mahata, great, yogaha, the science of one's relationship with the Supreme, nashtaha, scattered, parantapa, or Arjuna, subduer of the enemies. Translation: the supreme science was thus received through the chain of disciplic succession, and the saintly kings understood it in that way. But in course of time, the succession was broken, and therefore the science as it is appears to be lost. Purport: it is clearly stated that the Gita was especially meant for the saintly kings because they were to execute its purpose in ruling over the citizens. Certainly, Bhagavad-gītā was never meant for the demoniac persons who would dissipate its value for no one's benefit and would devise all types of interpretations according to personal whims. As soon as the original purpose was scattered by the motives of the unscrupulous commentators, there arose the need to re-establish the disciplic succession. 5,000 years ago, it was detected by the Lord himself that the disciplic succession was broken, and therefore he declared that the purpose of the Gita appeared to be lost. In the same way, at the present moment, also there are so many editions of the Gita, especially in English, but almost all of them are not according to authorized disciplic succession. There are innumerable interpretations rendered by different mundane scholars, but almost all of them do not accept the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Kṛṣṇa, although they make a good business on the words of Sri Kṛṣṇa. This spirit is demoniac because demons do not believe in God, but simply enjoy the property of the Supreme. Since there is a great need of an edition of the Gita in English, as it is received by the Parampara disciplic succession system, an attempt is made herewith to fulfill this great want. Bhagavad-gītā, accepted as it is a great boon to humanity. But if it is accepted as a treatise of philosophical speculations, it is simply a waste of time. So we see what is happening over time, that when this knowledge is passed to other successors, it may happen that it's broken, even unintentionally, because it's Kali Yuga. So in the mean of time, we are losing the memory. So it's necessary also. That's why also the scriptures are being written by Vyasadeva in the written form. It was before passed over to disciple, from teacher to disciple, just by hearing. Disciple could remember all the scripture. Just by once hearing from his teacher, he could remember and then gave the same knowledge to his disciples. But this is not, or I'm not saying it's not possible now, but it's very rare that there is someone like this who could remember by first hearing the scripture. So in this way, the Gita now is in the written form, and other scriptures which are relevant for our age, like Srimad Bhagavatam and others. So Lord detected that this chain was broken, and he again made attempt to reestablish the teachings of Bhagavad-gīta. Same thing Srila Prabhupada experienced, that when he came to America, he realized that there is basically, mostly no proper edition of Bhagavad-gīta without any speculation, because people were putting their own philosophies, their own views on the Bhagavad-gīta. So this is not how Bhagavad-gīta should be received or presented. So that's why Srila Prabhupada made this effort to produce a new translation of Bhagavad-gīta without any speculation, and as Krishna desired it. Also as he was given instruction by his spiritual master, Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur. So also not even for Srila Prabhupada it happened. We can see in many historical events that there was always some need to reestablish these teachings. Even Lord Chaitanya came because Advaita Acharya asked him to come, because it was there was also need to reestablish Vaishnavism. Then after Lord Chaitanya left, again something happened, and there was a lot of there were plenty of deviations. Some sects were coming who were not following, they were just imitating, and Vaishnavas lost their reputation. So again, Bhaktivedanta Thakur came to put Vaishnavism in the proper position. So like this is happening over the history. And then Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, like this. There is comment. I used to hear many philosophers, yes, that's true, that they use Bhagavad-gīta to trigger the topic, but ultimately it goes nowhere, no conclusion in their philosophy. Yes, this is basically also my experience, that whenever I try to, before I met devotees, when I was discussing various things, basically we never went anywhere. It was no practical conclusion from our philosophy, but here we see that we can very nicely apply what Srila Prabhupada is giving us. So there is also great difference. Yes, I have also, it's the same experience. Okay. So we continue for 3. Sa evayam mayatedya yoga prokta puratanaha bhaktosime sakacheti rahasyam hietaduttamam. Saha, the same eva, certainly I am this, maya, by me, te, unto you, adya, today, yogaha, the science of yoga, proktaha, spoken, puratanaha, very old, bhaktaha, devotee, asi, you are, me, my, sakha, friend, cha, also, iti, therefore, rahasyam, mystery, he, certainly, etat, this, uttamam, transcendental. Translation: that very ancient science of the relationship with the Supreme is today taught by me to you, because you are my devotee, as well as my friend, and can therefore understand the transcendental mystery of this science. Purport: there are 2 classes of men, namely the devotee and the demon. The Lord selected Arjuna as the recipient of this great science, owing to his being a devotee of the Lord. But for the demon, it is not possible to understand this great mystery of science. There are a number of editions of this great book of knowledge. Some of them have commentaries by the devotees, and some of them have commentaries by the demons. Commentation by the devotees is real, whereas that of the demons is useless. Arjuna accepts Sri Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and any commentary on the Gita following in the footsteps of Arjuna is real devotional service to the cause of this great science. The demoniac, however, do not accept Lord Krishna as he is. Instead, they concoct something about Krishna and mislead the general readers from the path of Krishna's instructions. Here is a warning about such misleading paths. One should try to follow the disciplic succession from Arjuna and thus be benefited by this great science of Srimad Bhagavad-gītā. Okay, so Lord selected Arjuna because he is a devotee, also he is his very dear friend. So with devotees, because they are practicing devotional service, then that is very easily understood. Because the spiritual science works like this: if we are doing some practice, not only speculating about it, so then this knowledge by practice is revealed in the heart. And that's the difference, because material knowledge we can learn by intelligence, by material intelligence. But material intelligence cannot conceive spiritual knowledge. So that's why it's necessary also to do spiritual practice. So this, or the service, so this knowledge will be revealed in our heart, and then we will understand. Otherwise, it may seem to us like something very obscure or even contradicting. We can see, or those who are not practicing, they just cannot grasp this knowledge. They don't know what it is about. Even myself, I remember before I started to practice, for me, first reading of Bhagavad-gītā was very, very complicated, very, very difficult to understand. It was like something coded or crypted, or so this was my first perception of Gita. And then I heard from devotees, and then it, or even I started to practice, and then gradually it was revealed more and more. So this is the way how to approach the scripture. We will see also later in this chapter, there is 34 verse. Is saying that that we approach the spiritual master to get this knowledge, and that is important to be submissive and also to render service to get this knowledge. So this is how we can have understanding of transcendental knowledge. So I come back again. It comes to my mind that because this section is called Transcendental Knowledge, and in the end of the third chapter, or I mean this chapter is called Transcendental Knowledge, and in the end of the third chapter, it was very much stressed this this transcendental knowledge to strengthen our intelligence. So it is very nicely continuing the flow of the topics, that now we see what is this knowledge, we should know how to strengthen our intelligence, how to make it more resistant to the influence of lust. So here we will learn something about Krishna, about his purpose and other things also. So in this way, our intelligence will build up some strength. Okay, so that's for today. If there are any comments or questions, can take. Okay, Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavad-gītā ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Bhaktivedanta ki jai.